Now update, the Warriors play the Lakers 4 times this season, but the first time doesn't come until Christmas Day. It's really a gift we all get, and one LeBron kind of gave us when he joined the Lake Show. And Klay Thompson says that's pretty cool when talking to media after practice Tuesday in Vegas. Hey, what's not cool if you're a Dubs fan, and there's a lot of recent new ones out there. I'm looking at you, Draymond Green, and that sore left knee. Still bothering the All-Stars, so he won't play tonight versus the Lakers in their preseason game in Vegas. Head coach Steve Kerr says Friday more likely for Green's return. While Green thinks Lonzo won't. Ball expected to get his first preseason minutes after head coach Luke Walton said before camp he would be easing Ball back into things after the second-year guard had surgery to repair a torn meniscus. Ball says he'll come off the bench and likely play between 10 and 30 minutes. That's First Take.
Oh boy, Lonzo Duo will make his preseason debut tonight on ESPN against the Warriors. It'll be him and LeBron out there together. Stephen A. Smith, what is your expectation for this double L duo?
Well, listen, you know how I feel about what the Lakers are going to do this season, but as it pertains to LeBron,
remind everyone.
Well, they're going to the Western Conference Finals. That's my position.
Yeah.
I think Houston obviously has the potential to ruin it by and I shouldn't say ruin because I got no problem being in H-Town, but I look at the Houston Rockets. Obviously, they're formidable enough where it could be them and Golden State, but I just have this sneaky suspicion that the Lakers are going to be there in the Western Conference Finals. As it pertains to Lonzo Ball, as Max has alluded to on many occasions, a lot will depend on his ability to shoot the three, to hit perimeter shots. Only shot about 30% from three-point range, which was an improvement based on how awful he looked earlier on in the season. I think LeBron and Lonzo are going to be good, really good defensively, because people forget that Lonzo's 6'6" and can defend. So they forget that. Now you got to bulk up because you can push him around, but his length, that's going to make him very formidable. With Kuzma and Brandon Ingram and those guys, if they're committed to trying to play defense, they could cause some problems for a lot of teams because they're so lanky and so long. Offensively, fast break. Luke Walton wants to push the ball. If he is successful, I interviewed him the other day, just talking to him. If they're successful pushing the basketball, I think it will benefit them. My struggle with them is going to be those two from the perimeter, because if they're feeding off of one another, it's really off the fast break. You don't want them in pick and roll situations because somebody's got to pick and pop and what have you. And I don't see LeBron doing that too often, and I don't know if Lonzo is capable of that. So as long as they're pushing the ball up the floor, they'll be formidable. They'll definitely be formidable on the defensive end, which will create fast break opportunities. My trepidation about them involves their perimeter prowess, which I think is not going to be as formidable as I would like, because I'm not convinced that Lonzo Ball can shoot yet.
Yeah, and who is the guy on that team who puts the ball on the floor and can finish? Like everyone says closer, and I'm always kind of like saying, oh, that's ridiculous. But LeBron is actually that guy, which sometimes creates an interesting dynamic with him, because he's also usually the guy with the ball in his hand, because he is the greatest basketball genius there is, right? As smart as some other players are. That's one of the reasons I think they went and got Rondo, because they can take the ball out of LeBron's hand, not only with another brilliant basketball guy, but a guy who's been there and can play big and can orchestrate and is a veteran and has championship pedigree. And I think the combination, the question is the LL duo, right? The LeBron-Lonzo duo. What effect does it have on the team? First of all, I think they're going to take more L's, speaking of L, than people suspect, than you suspect. I don't think their win-loss record at the end of the season is going to be quite as good as people anticipate. I do think they're going to be dangerous in the playoffs. And the reason is, I recall Magic's first game back. After HIV, he came back briefly, and he played power forward, but like a point forward. And the Lakers lost that first game he came back. But, boy, was everyone passing the ball. He had a contagious effect, the passing and the unselfish play. And everyone was like, well, I'm playing with Magic Johnson. I want to play like Magic Johnson. Sometimes that can be a problem if you don't have the guys who say, okay, I'm going to shoot the ball. Lonzo's not a shooter. Rondo's not a shooter. They do have some guys who can. Hart and KCP can shoot the ball. Ingram will learn how to shoot the ball. He can put the ball on the floor. But what I see most of all from that pairing is a contagious effect in terms of sharing the ball. This team is going to move that ball.
They've been doing it in preseason, but what I would say as a retort to all of that is, who's to say that's going to benefit Lonzo? And here's what I mean. Rondo can play the point. KCP can play some point if necessary. Ingram. So I'm saying there are a multitude of options that the Lakers have put in place that takes Lonzo Ball off the court. So when we say LeBron and Lonzo, well, we know LeBron's going to be on the court.
Well, I have a counter to that.
Sure.
Which is, it's in LeBron's best interest to make sure that Lonzo is on the court and that Lonzo is doing well and that Lonzo looks like a valuable player. Because there are tradable, you want to create, if you're the Lakers, as many tradable commodities on your team as you can. Because if a superstar becomes available this year and the Lakers want to hold on to either Kuzma or Ingram, Lonzo's going to have to look attractive enough to other teams to package with one of those two to get something good. And so I think Lonzo actually will play plenty of minutes. He will have the ball in his hand a lot more than people suspect, and that includes with Rondo on the team, and he will have numbers because that will translate into a more attractive trade asset to other teams.
I don't think that LeBron wants Lonzo going. I think that LeBron wants to be a part of grooming Lonzo into being that stellar point guard that they envisioned him being when they drafted him number 2 overall. And I think that LeBron is going to take a special interest. He genuinely likes this kid. And I think he's going to take a special interest in this kid. And I don't think Lonzo is going anywhere. But that may mean that there's a maturation process that has to take place as we're going along. And that might lead to Lonzo sitting down a little bit more. If that happens, how's LeVar Ball going to react to that? And what kind of distraction is that going to create?
And then does Lonzo stay on the team?
And then does Lonzo stay?
Which goes back to my point.
Stay tuned.
You better make him look good.
Yeah.
Lonzo better look good one way or another.
Here's what we do know. He tweaked and worked on his jump shot.
Well, stop that.
He did.
So, okay.
It's going to take a lot more.
It's going to take a lot more than tweaking.
He shoots it from the wrong shoulder.
When you look at the game of basketball,
yeah.
When you shoot that bad with your form,
did he work on it?
That is a reclamation project.
Was it a fact? What I said?
I'm just saying.
Opinion?
It was a fact, but I'm just saying.
You're
that
like there's a
long way to go.
As Coach Mackey teaches, steady bucket. It's a hinge. It's straight. It has to be a hinge from the shoulder, the elbow. So when you're shooting it from the wrong shoulder, he brought it from here to here. He's got like a couple seasons to go to get it over.
All I said is he's working on it. You're jumping all over me.
Do you know who, speaking of assists, do you know who Coach Mackey, he names moves after different players. Cross them, get your knee down like Kyrie Irving. The shot is after Klay Thompson.
Look at you. What a segue. Klay Thompson and a few other Warriors were asked about LeBron wearing the purple and gold. They said it's cool, the King's a Laker, and we all know Klay's a free agent this summer, and the Warriors likely can't keep that entire roster intact. Max, I'll come to you with a perfect segue. Thank you. What are the chances that Klay goes to L.A.?
I think they're good. You know, if you know his father, Michael Thompson.
Yep.
Klay Thompson grew up in a purple and gold household. Like, Michael Thompson bleeds purple and gold. Michael Thompson, his daddy, in our colleague, Michael Thompson was the #1 overall draft pick in the NBA, was averaging 20 and 12, got traded to the Lakers where he wasn't going to have any stats to back up Kareem, and he thinks it's the greatest thing that ever happened to him because he won championships. He's all about the Lakers. And I know he'd like, whatever they say, I know he'd love for Klay to play with the Lakers, and I'm sure that would be a lifelong dream for Klay. That said, Stephen A., whatever LeBron thinks he wants, here's the issue I have with Klay on the Lakers. Klay is the greatest 3-and-D plus player ever. Like, basically, that's what he is. He's an excellent defender, and he can shoot unlike anyone ever, maybe, right? And it's not that he can't put the ball on the floor, Stephen A., but it's sort of like Allen Houston back in the day. For a 3-and-D player, he can put the ball on the floor. But if you're the opposition, you want him to put the ball on the floor because that's not really what he's best at. And if you're going to pay max dollars for another superstar to pair with LeBron James, I would like that guy to be able to put the ball on the floor at an elite level. When the Warriors became unbeatable, they got a guy like that in Kevin Durant, who's not the primary ball handler. LeBron, I think, needs more than a guy like Klay to be put with a guy like, even if it's a Paul George, obviously Kawhi Leonard, a guy who can also play make. If the ball's in his hands and he's running your offense, you're still okay. And I don't think that's quite Klay Thompson.
I disagree with you. And the reason why I disagree with you is because of our previous conversation, the level of personnel that the Los Angeles Lakers have on their squad right now. When you have a bunch of guys that can handle the ball, you look at Klay Thompson, what you don't have is Klay Thompson, a Kyle Korver, a bona fide shooter. If you look at some of the great shooters in NBA history, you know what? Do you realize that only 3 guys are ahead of Klay Thompson percentage-wise? Three guys. Kyle Korver, Steph Curry, and Steve Nash, who was really a point guard that could shoot the three, but really wasn't a three-point shooter. So really you only have two bona fide three-point shooters percentage-wise that's better than Klay Thompson, and Kyle Korver's been in the NBA since 2003. Klay Thompson just got back 8 years later in 2011. Klay Thompson is one of the greatest shooters this game of basketball has ever seen. He's 6'7", he can defend multiple positions, and not only that, he doesn't need the basketball. And the argument that I'm making with you, Max, is this. Even though I appreciate your point, and if you're talking about a Kevin Durant, obviously we know how lethal it would be unfair. I think I'd boycott the NBA if Kevin Durant and LeBron James teamed up. I mean, why even bother watching basketball? It would just be insane to me. But let me say this to you. Even though, throw that aside, the issue here is Klay Thompson's not needing the ball is actually more helpful.
Wait a minute.
Because he can be a catch-and-shoot guy. Now, he could put the ball on the floor to get a shot off.
Right.
He ain't going to dance on you or nothing. Sure. He could post with you. He can't do Kyle Korver can't do that. Right. That was why he was nothing in the final. But catch-and-shoot, Klay Thompson, what's special?
But the Lakers already have a guy who can do that, who they don't have to pay yet. Josh Hart shoots 40% from three.
No.
He's a nice player.
He's a really nice player. I like Josh, and he's growing, and there's a place for him. But he does a lot of things for you on both ends, and I'm not trying to question that. But again, he handles the ball in terms of just catching and shooting.
He's not as good as Klay. Klay Thompson's the best version of that.
Well, that's all I'm saying.
But do you need the best version of that? You want to give that guy a max deal?
Yeah, but why have one of them? In other words, what I'm saying to you is because of what you saw, even though Klay is considerably better than Kyle Korver, because of what you saw, how handicapped Cleveland was with Kyle Korver on the floor, because all he could do was shoot for you offensively. If you got a Josh Hart, that's not a disincentive to go out and get a Klay Thompson.
I'll tell you why it is. Because of the cap, you don't want too much redundancy. So in other words, the Lakers have LeBron James. He's the do-everything man, right? You're going to have room for maybe two more max deals. Do you want to shoot one of those on a guy who's Josh Hart plus?
Yes.
When you already have Josh Hart.
Once again, what did I tell you about it? You think because people disagree with you, they don't understand. This is basketball. I comprehend it fully. I am telling you, I respectfully disagree. That's exactly what I want.
So
I want to lower.
I
want to lower. Well, I'm not saying over anybody. I'm saying if you were talking about chances of him signing with the Lakers, which, by the way, I think is slim to none because the Golden State Warriors tell me that there's no way in hell they're losing Klay Thompson. Right. They're not letting him go. And his daddy says, you know what? Who knows what he's going to do? But we all know Klay loves the Bay Area.
Look
even
at
though
the
I don't think he would mind
that are likely to come up in trade or just for signing. Where does Klay rank among them? Would you rather have AD or Klay? Would you rather have Kawhi or Klay? Consistently, it's going to be the other guy. So if you get Klay, that's a consolation prize, as great as he is.
Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, all better than Klay.
Right.
But because of LeBron, the personnel that you have, the only person, well, I wouldn't say the only person because I don't know how I could pass up Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis and LeBron for Kawhi.
Listen, if Klay goes to the Lakers, a storied player, iconic franchise, it would be a great marriage.
I will say this,
yeah.
And I'm going to close it out by saying this. I said it before and I said it again. If the Lakers had Klay Thompson, that means Klay Thompson wouldn't be in the Warriors. They would beat the Golden State Warriors. They would beat the Golden State Warriors.
The Warriors wouldn't replace him with another
guy? Okay. We can't start a whole debate.
With Kevin Durant,
we'll save
Steph Curry,
we'll save that for another day. We'll table that. The producers got it. We're tabling it. Hall of Famer calls out Dak Prescott for his accuracy. Find out who it was and if he's putting too much blame on the Cowboys QB.